Hi, welcome to Naima Creates. I'm Naima, and today I'm creating my March bullet journal spread. I decided this month to do a 1960s kind of hippie Austin Powers theme. I just, like where I live right now, it's kind of dismal, and you always feel like March is the start of spring, so it's gonna be sunny and bright, but it's not. So I figured I would just bring some of that brightness into my journal just to, keep me in the right mood and get me excited for the warmer months to come sometime in the future anyways. So to start off with, I looked up a 1960s font on Google, and then I was also referencing the Austin Powers movie posters too. So I was able to get this kind of, bubble letter thing that they used to do where like the bottom of it is like it's really bottom heavy. And yeah, so I've really enjoyed working with new fonts every month in my bullet journal actually. So I've been sticking with a color scheme that I want to keep with me for the month. So I have orange, that's the main one, but then I have orange, yellow, pink, green, and then there's a touch of blue that makes its way in there as well. So I'm using the Tombow dual brush pens, those markers that have like the nice felt tip on the one side. They're really great with blending colors together. You can use your Crayola too, which I also do love using Crayola, for a lot of things. But for this one, because I'm going to be coloring a large area, I thought these would be better just because they just blend easier. So even when you start off and it's a bit streaky as you're covering a large area, it really, as you just color over it again, and you'll see that in a second here, as I do these lines up and down, I don't know if you can quite tell in the video, but it's a little bit streaky at the beginning, and then I go back over it a second time, and everything just blends together. It just looks like one big swash of color, which is lovely. And I was really trying to hold off on not doing all this because, I didn't want to use all my yellow just covering an entire page, but I just really couldn't resist. So I added in these ribbons at the top and bottom just to cut off the page, so I was only doing 3/4 of the page instead of the full thing. And yeah, it worked out well, I guess. So I made sure to color inside the shapes and go around each letter afterwards just to make sure that I didn't miss any spots. And as you can see, I'm just doing the thing that I just mentioned in terms of coloring back over the areas I'd already touched, just to blend everything a bit more together. Do be aware though that because these are all water soluble, that they will a little bit of the color might blend into each other, so just make sure things are fully dry before you go in and start doing that. Otherwise you might have some color blending out. I did have that with those little green squiggly flower things with a little bit of the edges getting just a little bit fuzzy, but I didn't really mind too much, so it wasn't a big deal. And then I just used washi tape at the top and bottom that had that kind of boho thing that they were super into back then with their clothing and stuff. So I think that turned out all right. It just added all the right colors to the page and gave it a little bit of that eclectic feel with the different patterns and stuff that I think they were really into back in the 60s. So on to this next page here, I'm doing my habit tracker, and what I've done is I've just taken circles, so I just drew out maybe 3x3 based on the grid spacing in the journal of circles, and I didn't, they didn't have to be perfect or anything. And then inside each circle I drew, a smaller circle to be the middle of my flower, and then I've just taken 3 of the colors to make 5 petals around it. So the plan is basically to fill in each petal. Each petal will be each day of the month as I go through and fill in each habit. And so I did, because each flower has 5 petals, so I've done 7, because 5 times 7, 35. There's 31 days in March, so I'll just have 4 petals extra at the end. So that way all the days are covered and it's pretty clear and easy when I'm coloring them in. I do think that there have been times before where I do the habit tracker and then it's I don't know, there's just too much going on. So when it comes time to filling them in, maybe I don't really feel like it. So this, I'm keeping it easy where the outsides of it are really colorful, but when it comes time to actually filling in each day, I'm just gonna use a simple yellow marker and just color it in, so I don't have to do anything else beyond that. Yeah, should be pretty easy. I did take a couple of the colors and put them in each. I can't remember what the middle of a flower is right now. The pollen, that's the only thing that's coming to my mind, which is not the right word, but I have some of the colors, the other colors that I used on this page in the different centers of the flowers. Yeah, and I've just written out each habit that I'm tracking along the side, and I wrote the word peace up at the top because, you know, it's all about peace and love back then, peace and love. I wasn't crazy about how it turned out with the piece at the top. I couldn't really think of how else to fix it. I added a couple more of those little flower thingies, but it still wasn't quite doing what I wanted it to do. I added another pink line like outside of each letter afterwards as well, just to, I was like, maybe it needs more colors, but even then that still wasn't really quite doing it for me. I did come back afterwards and I added washi tape over top, which I kind of liked how that was. It looks a little bit more, once again, that kind of boho vibe, but you'll see it in a minute when I add that in. So these are just the 4 extra petals, because once again, I've had 35 petals, so the last 4 are all bonus. I just have those automatically colored in, and then hopefully all the rest of the petals will be colored in as the month goes on. Even though every month I still never end up doing each habit each day, sadly, but one month, maybe one month it'll probably happen. This January was pretty good though. I got a bunch of them. Anyways, I digress. So on to my next page, just my little quote page. I just have "Here Comes the Sun," and that was kind of my main inspiration for the entire setup this month, because that song is just so happy and lighthearted, and yeah, it's just like good times are coming, you know? Not that I'm having bad times or anything, but you know, I'm just looking forward to the warm weather, truthfully. So I wanted a lot of this to be kind of overlapping and just feel like really unified together, like all the shapes are just rolling into each other. So that's why, you know, you can see the U there, it's just like right tucked in between the S and the N, and then up top I have the S of comes to be like over top of here, and I have everything just moving in together. And then I did add, like I wrote sun first before the, so that the could be just tucked in underneath, because obviously it's not as important of a word compared to everything else there. But I did use a different color just so that it would still stand out from the warmer colors of the orange and pink, so we have a cooler color going on here as well. And of course, I left room in the bottom left corner because you have to draw the sun. You can't say "here comes the sun" and then have no sun. So I have my little circle of the sun, and then all the sun rays going out in every direction and just getting wider as they go further and further out from the main source. And then I just outlined the words as well with those same, like they have a bullet tip on one side and the brush tip on the other. So I used the bullet tip to outline the letters just to make them pop a bit more. And I think that was one thing that I did struggle with a little bit with this theme is that I couldn't use black, because when I was looking at a lot of the stuff back then, they didn't have like, it just wasn't really black. Like they just used like the straight colors, or they'd use other bright colors to outline it. So that's what I've been doing, but it just feels so weird to not have that there. Because I like having them outlined in the darker color. I just feel like it makes everything stronger and pop more. So it was definitely a change. And I think that may be why I was like not fully like comfortable with what I had already done, just because it was something that I wasn't used to. So you can see what I mean with like I added the washi tape over top, which the piece still like comes through, but it's in the background. It looks as though maybe it's like part of a fabric or something. At least that's how I took it in anyways. I kind of liked it. I don't know if you'll like it or not, because it's a bit different, but you know, it's my bullet journal, so I enjoyed it like that. So I mean, if you're doing yours, I don't know if you follow along at home if you are trying the same thing, but yeah, I mean, you could definitely leave it without or add it on. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you. So onto this next page, I have my notes, or as other people call it, the brain dump page. So that'll just be anything that comes up in the month, any tasks that I have that don't belong to like a specific day. Like maybe I need to, I don't know, clear out my sock drawer or something. I can just add that here because it's something that can be done any day, but I do want to write it down, but I don't want to, commit to have to do it on Monday or anything. So I have that there, and then I referred back to my future log just to write out the month and the days of the week. For my February journal, I didn't film a video for it or anything, but I ended up messing up the days of the week, so it's probably for the best I didn't end up filming it. So always refer back to your stuff. One thing that you'll hear in all my videos is I'm just like, refer to, something, like have a reference photo or whatever. This, I have my reference calendar, and then down the left hand side I have my little peace symbols, and then I have all the days of the week in there. So Sunday the 1st, so just like S1 and then M2 and so on and so forth, just to keep it, the space pretty small and have enough room to add my actual events in. And then just keep it open. I mean that's like one of the things that will help, like with any sort of productivity kind of thing, is having some white space. If you have too much on the page, then it's hard for your mind to organize everything and to wrap your head around it. So having a bit of extra space definitely helps. So on this right page, it's just like a fun little pattern. I kind of saw a bunch of patterns like this, the psychedelic kind of patterns when I was looking up 1960s stuff. So I just kind of drew a flower. I have my lines going out to the corners just to keep myself a little bit on track. So I've just taken my main colors for the month. So I have, once again, the blue, green, pink, yellow, orange, and done it out in a rainbow pattern, going all the way out to the edges and then filling it in on the inside as well. And so what I'm doing here is I just print off, I don't know if you know about those like those Polaroids, those are, I use the Fujifilm one by Instax, so I just print off photos from my phone and then it prints out onto these little Polaroids, and I just stick them in here. So whatever memories that I have from over the course of the month, I just like to put that there, and this is just like the background for those photos to sit on. I think when I was younger, I used to be so into taking photos. I'd always be the person with the camera taking end of the school year or end of the semester, I'd always be taking pictures at the end of each section. And I think with Facebook and Instagram and the whole likes thing and stuff, I kind of just stopped because it didn't have the same vibe anymore. But I liked bringing it back into my bullet journal so I can actually be posting photos in real life. I'm actually posting it into a journal instead of posting it onto a digital wall. And this way it encourages me to just take pictures just for fun and have memories, and not feel like I need to be, having the perfect poses for Instagram or anything like that. So I just did this rainbow thing along the sides here, and hopefully I'll have some memories in March that I can take pictures of and add them in. And so finally we get to the weekly. I just used that ribbon that I used at the beginning, and I have my little adhesive glue tape thing to stick all those ribbons down, going all the way across. I do the rolling weekly or rolling daily thing, basically where I don't have like a box set out for each day. I just kind of go with it. So if I have only one task that day, then I just have one space. And if I have, 10 tasks that day, then I also can fill up the entire area as well. Just to make the most use of all the pages. And I like to keep it simple like this for the weeklies. That way, during the month, if I'm really busy, it's just something very simple for me to do. If anything, I could even just do a marker across the top and bottom to fill up that page. So here's the final flip through. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope that you found something in here that can maybe inspire you or motivate you, or maybe you just thought it was fun to watch. If you have any ideas that you want to see for a bullet journal in the future, just comment below. I'm happy to accommodate. And yeah, hope you have a great day. Thank you. Bye.